Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Wow, this week is going fast. And I'm Michelle Lee, and I work with women. I help them jump out of the box that they've been placed in and create a life that is truly authentic, fulfilling, and joyful for them. And I wanted to jump in and share with you. Today is my fifth day doing my 30-day cold challenge. As some of you know, as the Facebook Live was posted, I did the ice bath on Saturday, and I chose to challenge myself to get into our pool every single morning and do some cold therapy. And I'll tell you why this is so important to me. Hi, Diane. Hi, Jules. I'm just talking about today's day 5, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, yes, of my cold immersion challenge. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Today, it was 58 degrees this morning before 6 a.m. when I went out to the pool. And I immersed myself in the pool, and I stayed in longer than ever before. And I actually moved around because if you stay, I go up to my neck in the water. And if I stay real still, the water starts to feel a little bit warmer. Hi, Linda. Thanks for stopping by. The water starts to feel warm, and I'm breathing through it. And so today I moved around and swam around a little bit. I think maybe I was in for maybe 2 minutes. I'm going to see if I can get a thermometer so I can measure the temperature of the water. I don't think it's any warmer than 58 degrees. If it's 58 degrees outside at night and early in the morning before 6 a.m., I don't think the water's going to be any warmer than that. It doesn't feel warm when I get in. It feels pretty cold. Effing cold is what I was going to say. It's damn cold. And I breathe into it, and I'm able to stay longer and longer. And I want to tell you why this is super important to me. I shared a couple days ago about a dream I had years ago in my 20s about running, the instinct, the survival instinct, and running from an earthquake. The earth was splitting open. And in my dream, I had the thought, this survival instinct really sucks, because I knew that I was eternal, that I could not die, but I couldn't get out of the fear and the panic. And so that's why this ice immersion is so important to me. That would be rude, Jules. She said, wouldn't it be funny if the thermometer says it's warmer than it actually is? It would be, right? It would be easier to handle. That's why I haven't taken the temperature. And that's why I don't look at the temperature outside before I actually get into the water. I don't want to psych myself out about it. But anyway, the reason why this is so important to me and why I have taken this challenge is that we run our lives based on fear, and we are controlled based on fear. Consider how many decisions you make every day based on fear. Whether you get a flu shot or not, whether you stay at a job you don't like or not, whether you stay in a relationship that you maybe don't like anymore. Really consider how many decisions you make based on fear. And I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine before I did the class and did the ice water challenge, did the first dunking. And she was talking to me about how the primitive brain goes into the fight or flight, the instinct of survival, right? And how when we can submerge ourselves into the cold and breathe through that instead of fleeing, that we are actually overcoming that survival instinct. Wow, right? So if we can overcome that survival instinct, plus there's so many benefits. If you haven't read the book, The Way of the Iceman, but the story of Wim Hof, you need to read it and discover all of the health benefits that we are like at a low, we're constantly in disease, we're constantly infected, right? And we're so doing the breathing exercises, which I've incorporated into my morning routine, and doing the cold, you increase the oxygen in your blood and you decrease the inflammation being in the cold. Not only that, overcoming the survival instinct. If you can overcome that and breathe through that and be in the water and receive all the benefits of the cold water. Thank you, Louise. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you're enjoying this. If we can do that, how many other ways can we overcome fear? Right? I mean, seriously, how many other ways can you make that call? Are you willing to leave that relationship? Are you willing to raise your bar for your life? I mean, how much have you settled? And we settle, I mean, guilty. I've settled a lot in my life. And 2017 has been the greatest year of my life because I made the decision to stop settling. And I made a decision to not let fear control my life anymore. And so by doing this challenge for my health and more for my mental ability, getting into that cold water every single morning, I am mastering my life. And I remember years ago telling my mom actually on the phone, I am here to master this universe. And I wasn't joking. It's like, I really want to master the illusion, master the dream that we're living in. And when we master mind over matter, when we master our bodies and when we can respond to something instead of reacting to something, we can literally make anything we want. We can create any life we want. And here's the other take on fear. My girlfriend, when we were out to lunch on Friday, and she's telling me how the brain works, and talking about the instinct of fear, she was talking about a woman who had a brain injury, and she actually lost fear, right? She actually lost her ability to be afraid. And what this woman was telling a story, how this gunman came up to her on a street and put the gun to her and said, "You're coming with me." And she goes, "Oh, okay." She had no fear. She's just like, "All right, okay." And he goes, What do you mean?" She goes, "Okay, you want me to come with you? I'll come with you." And he goes, "I'm going to fucking kill you." And she goes, "Oh, okay." And he freaked out because she was not reacting, right? She was not reacting. So he freaked out and let her go. And that got me to thinking, how beneficial is fear? Right? How beneficial is fear? Her lack of fear saved her life. So I invite you to really rethink that. You know, how does fear, when we know that we are eternal beings, right? And we are energy that exists in one form or another, why should we fear releasing the form that we're in? Right? Isn't that profound? I love that, Louise. Goosebumps. I know. I got goosebumps too. When we know that, we can no longer be controlled. Consider watching the news, how much that freaks the shit out of you, right? We are controlled by fear. But when you know you're eternal and that you're simply going to change forms, how much better can your life be when you can overcome the lower brain, right? I mean, if we talk about this in chakra terms, right? If we go from the root chakra, and that is our chakra of survival, and that's where our media, right, tries to keep us in the survival mode. Because if we can't move up to the higher chakras, if we can't move up into even our third and fourth chakras of pure love, then we can be controlled. And if we can't move up to our throat chakra and our third eye and our crown chakras, that's what I'm talking about right now, right? Understanding, knowing without a doubt that we are eternal. And it's the lower energies and keeping us in that survival mode that controls us. So I challenge you. What can you do? I'm doing the cold challenge because it just, when my girlfriend was telling me about how the brain works, and then during the class, Chris was telling us how the brain works. And then I had that memory, oh my God, of the dream that I had of feeling so powerless over the survival instinct, even though my higher self knew there was nothing to fear. And that's what we're learning right now. That's how we're creating heaven on earth. For those of you that know about ascension and spirituality and becoming, the second coming of the Christ, which is ourselves, right? Our own Christ self-awakening. This is what is required. Not reacting to the physical illusion that we see. And getting into that cold pool every morning, breathing through it, and knowing myself as a master. That's how we overcome the fear. That's how we overcome the fear. So thanks for stopping by, everyone. If you have any thoughts or questions, thank you, Louise. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Yeah, Jules, it is. Okay, Jules, I'm going to read yours. I know it doesn't help. I fear for my daughter in this world more than myself. I just love her so much and don't want her to get harmed. Right or wrong, it's Mama Bear love. You're right. That is another piece of mastery that we have to overcome. Beyond being your daughter, Jules, she is a divine being. She is her God self with her own path and purpose. And when you can empower her to trust her instincts, trust her intuition, then she'll feel safe in the world too. As long as you fear for her, she'll be afraid too, and her choices will be made out of fear. It's a huge leap to make. I'm glad you stopped by, Louise. Yeah, I have goosebumps. I was so meant to stop by, right? We are so led to this. I had that dream years ago of feeling powerless over the survival instinct. Probably I was in my 20s. Or late teens. So it was 25 years ago that I had that dream. And that dream came rushing back to me as I was standing outside that cold tub and Chris was talking about the survival brain. And then I remembered, the day before I had lunch with my friend Diana and she was talking about the survival brain, right? And I'm going, holy shit, my higher self, my soul brought me to this moment to learn to not be powerless over the lower brain, the lower chakra survival instinct, because when we can overcome that, we can begin living from the higher chakras, living from our heart instead of our brain, the fear brain, and creating heaven on earth. So thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to share it. Spread the word. We've got to get this out. The very simple thing of doing a cold water plunge every day is our path to awakening. Holy shit, right? I love that. Blessings to you all. I'll see you tomorrow.